For more on Lloyd Blankfein and his upcoming testimony, Bill Cohan is on the phone. Bill is our friend and contributing editor, and he's the author of Money and Power, his book about Goldman Sachs that comes out next month. Bill, how uncomfortable is this situation for Lloyd Blankfein? He's going to be called to testify about confidential, secret conversations in Goldman's boardroom, conversations about Warren Buffett's $5 billion investment that, in some respects, saved the firm. And then he has to talk about the fact that they were leaked, allegedly, by Rajat Gupta to Raj Rajaratnam.
You know, Erik, the whole thing is highly unusual to begin with. When was the last time that there was actually an insider trading trial? When was the last time that a CEO of a leading Wall Street firm testified in that trial? So I think you've got a lot of unusual factors. The fact that, of course, you know, probably Lloyd had a big hand in having Mr. Gupta on the board to begin with, and so now he has to, you know, suffer some embarrassment, to say the least, about having one of his board members being accused of participating in an insider trading ring, and then to have to, you know, sort of, maybe he might actually, you know, feel so betrayed by Mr. Gupta that he's happy to, you know, testify against him to make clear, you know, that Goldman had no role in this, number one. Not that they've been accused of having a role, but that he had no role, and that he was just, you know, verifying what the government is accusing Mr. Gupta and Raj of doing. So there's many unusual things of this about this, and, you know, not the least of which is that you know, the defense was potentially trying to make a link between, which is very unusual given what happened last April, a link between, you know, Goldman being potentially prosecuted by the government for other suits, and his testimony, and saying maybe they'll get a break as a result of Blankfein giving favorable testimony in this case,
Bill?
As it relates to other cases.
Right. So, you know, the prosecution is trying to limit the scope of Blankfein's testimony so he isn't allowed to answer questions about the financial crisis and Goldman's role and culpability. But even if they get that request granted, surely there seems to be some risk to Goldman here. You know as well as I that Lloyd Blankfein isn't always a predictable witness. He can say some testy things. I could recall the Financial Crisis Inquiry Commission hearing, and he wasn't exactly friendly, let's say, to those posing questions.
Right, and he didn't come off as being particularly well prepared either. I suspect that this time, assuming they get the narrow focus, which I suspect they're likely to get, he'll be much better prepared, having learned his lesson last time. Don't forget, he was a lawyer. He was a Harvard Law School graduate. He practiced as a lawyer at Donovan & Leisure, so he's probably going to be extremely familiar with how to answer questions like this in a courtroom. But yes, there's always a vulnerability when you get into a courtroom setting and you're a witness on the stand and you've sworn to tell the truth.
Well, as you point out, Bill, Lloyd Blankfein is an experienced witness at this point, thanks to his testimony in Washington. Bill Cohan, author of Money and Power, the upcoming book on Goldman Sachs. He's our contributing editor.